If you've ever struggled to get started on a project, or you've delayed getting going, or you've just not got going at all, likely you've blamed it on procrastination. Likely you've told yourself that you're just a lazy person, or you lack motivation, or you don't have the drive to get stuff done. Well, that's not the truth at all. So if you are one of those people who struggle to get things done, to get moving, you need to hear this. What research has found, what psychologists have discovered, is that actually it's nothing to do with procrastination. It's nothing to do with the actual science of you putting things off. It's actually due to what's happened to you in the past. It's due to your traumas. It's due to your childhood. Things that have happened to you before are now affecting what's showing up today. And if we want to change that pattern, if we want to start moving forward with our life, we've got to start recognizing the signs, but also start seeing the signs for what they are. So I'm going to break down 10 signs that you might be stuck in a trauma loop, and it's that trauma loop that is stopping you from taking action. And also at the end, they're going to be telling you exactly what you can do about this. So the first sign of a past trauma affecting you and stopping you from moving forward and taking action is you fear failure. You fear moving forward in case you fail. If you're finding that failure scares you, I don't want to fail, what is this telling you? It's telling you that somewhere along the line, you created a belief, and that belief about yourself told you that it was bad, it was going to be dangerous, that something awful happens if you fail. Maybe it's because you were bullied at school. Maybe you were told when you failed that, look at you, people laughed at you, okay? So no one wants to be shamed, no one wants to be the butt of the jokes, nobody wants to be outcast. So what a better strategy than just not to try in the first place. You can't fail if you don't try. And of course, this is the Homer Simpson model of I'm not a failure because I haven't tried. But that's the logical brain speaking. This isn't a logical thinking. This is nervous system being unregulated. This is us freezing when it comes to taking action, because we're not thinking about the success and the rewards. We're actually thinking about what would it mean if we were to fail. We don't want to start until we know that we can't fail. But the truth is, we'll never know that we can't fail. What we do know is that we can't fail doing what we're doing now, living the life we're living now, because that life we're okay with. That life is fine. Yes, we would prefer something different. Yes, we know we have a lot more potential, but this is what we're familiar with. We're familiar with what's happening right now. Number two is if you struggle to regulate certain emotions, if you find that you're often quite anxious, you're quite worried, or when events happen to you that you can't foresee, you kind of take them very personally, they affect you in a big way, then this shows that you struggle with regulation of the emotions. You struggle with regulating your nervous system. Basically, you've likely had some trauma happen to you in the past, something negative has happened, and your response was one of shock, one of horror, one of, I don't know what to do in this situation. So now, even just the thought of putting yourself into an unknown situation where things could happen, you freeze, you tell yourself that this isn't good, and those thoughts come back. So rather than putting yourself forward and having to experience the anxiety and the pain and the stress that comes with taking action and going into an unknown situation, you listen to the what ifs and you say, well, what if the negative happens? What if this bad things happens? You listen to all those what ifs, and instead you say, you know what? I'm going to stay right where I am. Another sign that is trauma from the past stopping you is perfectionism. If you're someone who is a bit of a perfectionist, likes to get everything perfect, likes to get all their ducks in a row before you start a project, this again is you making sure that you're safe before you set out on that journey. And of course, this is what you want to do. If you're going to explore a new territory, if you're going to get in a ship and sail across the world and look for new lands, it's important that you get everything lined up that you can. But the truth is, what happens here is most people go, you know what, I've got everything lined up that I can, but there's a million things that I haven't got lined up because I don't know what they are. And we start to worry, we start to catastrophize, and we start to think, well, I need to know 100 times more. I need to do 5 more things, and I need to get this, and I need to check this. Before you know it, You've found 100 reasons why you're not ready to start. Well, maybe you start again. Maybe you're doing a project and you say to yourself, well, this isn't the right project. Maybe, well, what if I don't do this? It's not perfect. It's not right. So you end up finding ways to make sure that you get all those ducks in line, but they never will be. And that is the thing. We've got to focus only on what we can control, because by being a perfectionist, we are actually stopping ourselves from growing, from learning. And that's what we need to do. When we came into this world as a baby, we didn't know what the world was going to throw at us. We came in with this kind of trust, if you will. Now, of course, if you came into the world and something bad happened, or you had parents, for instance, who weren't able to take care of you, weren't able to give you the support and the love you needed, you quickly developed a view of the world that you can't trust anyone and everything needs to be perfectly lined up before you take action. But actually, the proof that you can take action is right here. You have got this far. And the fact that you've got this far shows that you've got so much resilience, and you've obviously been through a lot. And if you can get through that, you can get through this next step. So doing that journey, that thing that scares you, actually is only going to make you grow, and you already have the tools available to achieve it. Number 4, vulnerability. If you struggle with being seen, this is a trauma response. Someone who doesn't want to be seen is afraid that if they're seen, if they put themselves out there, if they share a bit of themselves on social media, or they allow people into their world, they're going to be taken advantage of. Now, this isn't the case all the time. Sometimes it is, but likely this has been the case for you in the past. You were vulnerable as a child, or you were in a situation where you couldn't control it, and you felt very alone, you felt very hurt, and something bad happened to you. So now you're just stopping yourself from taking that action, because the vulnerability that you felt then is making you believe that by feeling that same feeling again, the same negative thing's going to happen afterwards. And of course, this isn't the truth, but this is what your nervous system is feeling. Number 5, your brain is actually wired differently. When you've been through trauma, we have different neuro pathways that shut down. We have different aspects of our brain that go offline. So these parts that go offline, like the prefrontal cortex, which is like the part that does the work, they're offline, and we're now just in the survival part of the brain. When you're in the survival part of the brain, the cognitive abilities to problem solve aren't going to be as in-depth because they don't feel safe. So it's so important that you work on safety, finding yourself in a place where it's safe, surrounding yourself with safe people. This way, those areas can come back online, and you can now start operating from your full operating system. Another sign that you've had trauma, and that's what's stopping you, is the avoidance. If you avoid situations in life, if you avoid going to parties, if you avoid people, these are all signs that you're keeping yourself safe. Anything that's to do with keeping yourself safe, protecting yourself, avoiding these opportunities means that you don't get put in front of bad situations. But at the same time, by doing that, you're also avoiding the opportunity that might come your way. You're avoiding the luck. So you're finding that nothing ever works for you, nothing ever gets started, because you're avoiding those opportunities, because you don't actually want those opportunities, because to you, opportunities are full of fear. Another huge one that many people face is overwhelm, feeling overwhelmed, just feeling like, wow, there's so much to do. Now, when I speak to clients who are going through this, they will say, yeah, it just feels like it's overwhelming. Even just talking about getting started just feels too much. But the truth is, if they were to talk about something where they feel safe, with millions of working parts, their brain can handle it. But as soon as they talk about this certain thing that feels unsafe, now they feel overwhelmed. And as we spoke about a minute ago, this is because the brain is going offline. Those areas of the brain that can deal with that cognitive function are shutting down. Now you're just stuck in this survival part of the brain. And the survival part of the brain is wanting to deal with one thing at a time. It's wanting to deal with survival. So it feels overwhelmed having to think about all the different what ifs, the moving parts. A lot of this as well is to do with rumination, just really overthinking and over worrying, draining a lot of your energy. Now, this can lead to dissociation. You might find you're the sort of person who dissociates very quickly when it comes to stressful situations. Again, what a great coping strategy for someone who's in a toxic situation or in a very bad traumatic place. Why not dissociate? Why would you want to experience the trauma when you can take yourself out of your body? You can remove yourself from what's happening to you. Now, what's happening is that that's happened in the past. At some time, you've learned to dissociate, and now when something stressful comes along, you're tapping into that same part of you that says, "Wow, this is stressful. This could be a time when I need to leave. So let's get out of here." Now, of course, if you've dissociated, then you're not going to be able to take action and move forward. You're going to be not with it. People are going to say, "Hey, why are you so vacant? Why are you so spaced out? What's wrong with you?" And of course, there isn't anything wrong with you. What you're doing is very good for survival, but just not great for moving forward and taking action. Another sign is you lack self-compassion. You're not telling yourself positive things every day. And the truth is, if we want to live with a growth mindset, if we want to grow in the world, if we want to move forward, we've got to bring in positive emotions. We need to be telling ourselves every day, you can do this, you are enough, you are worthwhile, you are worthy. Because the truth is, someone who's been through some kind of traumatic event, complex trauma, if you've grown up in a negative childhood when you were younger, then you've likely been told a lot of negative things. If you've had to deal with bullying, if you had to deal with belittling, all these negativities, they weigh down on you heavy. And anything that weighs down on you heavy takes a lot of work of positivity, because positivity is very light, it lifts you up. But that weight still holds you down. So you've got to put in so much more of that positivity. Start telling yourself the good stuff. Start hanging around with positive people. Start feeding your brain positive vibes, because that is a massive, massive thing that you can do to really start to move forward and get rid of that weight that's been holding you down from that criticism or that negative trauma that's been happening to you in the past. And finally, depression. If you're feeling depressed, if you're feeling lost, if you've been through trauma or grief or some kind of unresolved wound that's holding you back, likely this is what is really weighing you down as well. Not dealing with those feelings, pushing them aside, depressing them, putting them internally, not letting them out, not accepting that these are feelings and feelings are okay to feel. When we don't allow ourselves to feel, we numb ourselves. When we numb ourselves, we stop ourselves from being able to feel that feeling of joy, that feeling of motivation. So feel the negative, feel the pain, feel the grief. But by doing so, allow yourself to also feel the joy, feel the happiness of life when those times are appropriate, and feel that motivation to move forward and grow, because you 100% deserve it, I promise you. So guys, if any of this resonated with you, the most important thing you can do is find safety. Find a place where you can start to regulate your nervous system. So start hanging around with positive people, people who are safe, people who care for you, and get rid of the negative people in your life. Move away from them. Get rid of all the negative naysayers. Get rid of all the social media that's negative, watching that negative news, listening to the negative family members, and start to really create a world around yourself, which is this kind of echo chamber of you are enough, you can achieve anything, you can do what you want, because you can. Literally, you've achieved so much so far based on their survival. What's going to happen when you let go of that trauma, when you let go of that survival loop? You're going to be able to move forward and achieve anything, become who you want to be, or become who you already are. Because actually, it's deep down within you. You are already this whole person. What's happened is you've got this layer of wounds, and that layer of wounds is being protected by these different strategies that stop you taking action, trying to keep you safe. But as soon as we let go of that, lean into who you really are, lean into being vulnerable, knowing that you have the resilience and the strength and the intellect, you have the courage, you have everything you need to move forward. Guys, don't forget that. And please, if you enjoyed this video, you found it useful, please like, subscribe, or share it with someone who you think it could really help.